Haven't you guys ever wondered? Don't worry. This is not going to be one of those videos. It's not going to be the rant. It's not going to be this whole, it's not going to be what you all think, but I am going to pose a question out there to African Americans. Okay. Now, this is not to get controversy because the grand scheme of things, what I'm coming to realize is essentially the haves are trying to basically play everybody against one another. The grand narcissist of all times is getting people. This is what the classic narcissist does. They play everybody against one another. They triangulate, they gaslight, and they make sure that they are seen in a good light by all of the people in which they're gaslighting, pinging against each other, triangulating. Okay. So I know that I'm really not into the whole division thing because that's a part of the scheme. Okay. But I do want to say something that I have personally noticed. And I want to know if any of you African Americans out there in the cosmos, if you have noticed this, okay? Especially when it comes to trying to break. Okay. Have you all noticed that when you look in the tabloids or the news or the media, over the years, we hear lots and lots of stories, okay, about this famous person, that famous person, and another as it pertains to how they got the wealth that they got. Okay. We hear the stories about somebody had to sacrifice somebody, whoopty whoopty whoop. Okay. Now we don't know, for us regular Joe and Schmoes and Joe Schmoes, we don't have the facts, okay, on the factual information, okay? But it's something that has been said to be very common. But have you noticed? I want someone to answer the question. Do you know of any Caucasian person that has been noted to have had to sacrifice any of their family members? I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. What I'm actually saying is how, even if it had, how come this is not something that we do here? The most common things that we're getting in media is about the African American culture, sometimes depending if they're in a rap industry, the African American culture, other ethnicities. It's most common that you're hearing some kind of story about them happening to, sacrifice like somebody in their family. Now, it's common to most everybody, all cultures, that these people do these hazing rituals, these humiliation rituals on themselves, like to get in. They'll do a scene that they're not comfortable with. They'll do something like that's common for all cultures. But have you all ever wondered how come there's a highlight of African Americans that's basically when the chips fall, the powers that be that gave them all they got do not care about them being outed? Have you wondered how come and what is it really linked to? And this is what I'm coming up with. Shit ain't no different than it always been. In the slavery times, you had now, according to history, of course, we don't know if we were not there, but according to history, okay, that you had the African Americans that was the badasses, and you had the wusses. Okay, let me rephrase that. Be nice. Okay, be nice. Okay, you had the ones that stood for something. Okay, they cared, they loved, they stood for their people, they're kind, and they had absolute no interest in partnering with massa so that they can get an extra bowl of beans while their cousin still get beat into oblivion. Okay.
Need that tip remote.
Um, They, you know, and then you had some that did not have the strength, the courage.
You couldn't make it in time.
The strength, the courage, or the wherewithal to, you know, they were tired of the abuse. They wanted, you know, some comfort. And if it meant the Negroes across the tent, if it meant, you know, you get to, you know, you snitch on them, you follow them around, you report to Massa or Massa's right-hand man, you report to them about any basically organized stalking and slave time. Basically, then the Negro that sold out agrees to become a stalker and a surveyor. They then agree to become the informant. And they also agree I was getting the bright idea free of the oppression. So what I am gathering from that is what we're seeing in Hollywood, and even those of us that are targeted individuals. Hollywood, the entertainment, sports, it's the same shit that's always been. It's different. It's just a modern, polished version. Because how come, I want to know why we don't see this being prominent in white folk on the news. You know, they sacrificed their mama so that they, you know, how come it ain't some white person? Why am I seeing that? Again, I'm not saying that they're not doing it. I want to make this clear. I'm not trying to paint them in a highlight. I'm simply saying, why is it not visible? Why is it not seen? I have a theory. This is the grandest humiliation ritual of all time. This is the humiliation ritual of all humiliation rituals, right up under our fucking nose. They laugh and they talk. Don't get it twisted. Let me tell you what I know. They laugh at these people. They're not respected. Not even the least bit. Not even close. I promise you that. They laugh at them behind their back. They smile with them Ken and Barbie, fake ass veneer, Captain America. You know what I'm saying? They smile as they're making these deals with people. And they tell them how great they are. They basically pour it on thick and lean into these people's insecurities and their desperation. They lean into their ego, their lust and desire to be somebody important. They lean into the wounds in which they themselves created. Oof. Because they know this is going to be a tap dance monkey. But I promise, listen, this ain't a hate message. This is something to provoke thought. Why don't we see this? Why is it not something that's common in the news about, you know, like I said, humiliation rituals on a different level in terms of like the hazing. You do see that in all cultures when it comes to busting into the industries. Okay. We do see it, you do hear about that. But there's something specific about the you don't hear it in terms of sacrifice of life. You hear that somebody had to sleep with somebody, they had to do an orgy, they had to, uh, do a scene in a movie and play a role that was against their morals. Like you'll hear those things. And like that's the proof, and that's the like the tape they got on them because they did these rituals to make sure. That's common. But you don't hear a lot of them people coming out in the news that they brother got and they died and they mama, they say, you don't be hearing about them white folks. You don't be hearing that. And even where it's happening, they make sure that that's on a vote. Why? Why is it the African American culture, the ones when it's time for this kind of stuff to come out? Why is it the focus the African Americans or other cultures? Why is it not? Why? It's a humiliation ritual. Because listen, you know how these very people do humiliation rituals on their family members, the African Americans. They do all agree to all kinds of stuff for these little bowl of beans. They're doing humiliation rituals on the culture, and they're even doing a humiliation ritual on the one that they got to sell out. Damn. Dang.
Oh.
No, I'm not using it. Go ahead.
Oh.
They doing a humiliation ritual on the motherfuckers that they got to sell out, because in the end of it, they're gonna use that shit against them. To them, it's all energy, it's all loose, baby. See, there's no honor among thieves, and there never will be.
Oh, peace. I'm not cheating.
There's no honor among thieves, and there never will be. Okay? It's all energy, it's all loose, it's all a feed, it's all attention. And they still get to be held in a highlight in the end of it, while those who was willing to lick bootstraps, ass cracks, and kill their nephew to have 5 minutes of fame and fortune and admiration, to finally be able to ride a luxury vehicle. Yeah. Then they laugh and they mock at the ones that they smiled at and sang praises when they were luring them in. That's a cold piece of shit right there. That's some cold shit. That's some bullshit. Humiliation ritual. And then we talk blackness. And that's why I gotta get off of here. Cause that's why they mocking now. That's why they mocking right now. That's why they mocking. Because we think having dreads is making us blackness. No, it ain't. Not if you selling out your own. No, it's the fuck not. And they know it. That's why I say, and they laugh. Because it's like they watch the culture get into these trends and looks, and then in 2 minutes later, willing to kill their cousin and nephew if it means they get some bomb diggity money. It's like, you just go went all natural and you on TV and aren't you talking about blackness? Listen, y'all think I'm being funny and crude. I'm not. I'm really saying, I'm trying to really, let me rephrase that. I am expressing eloquently the buffoonery of how they're exploiting my culture. That's what I'm doing. How this is an actual humiliation ritual. Get them to be defame, betray themselves. We don't even have to do it anymore. We stopped having to do it in slavery times when we create scarcity, beat the bejesus out of them, brainwash them, condition them into thinking they're supposed to not do nothing about it and just take it and accept it. And that's just the way life is. And then one day, hopefully someday, maybe by and by in the sky, they'll get their recompense. And the ones who are tired and exhausted, and we can break their spirit, then we can get them to sell out the ones that we can't break. Hell, stir them up, get them upset at each other, get them, ping them against one another, make them feel, that's the ancient of days. This is the ancient of days strategies of all time before we had language to put to it. This is a humiliation ritual on the African American culture, because it's like they let them get high, get all of the praise and acclaim, all of the money, all of the awards, all of the love and support and admiration. They'll let it high. Boom, scandal. Low, hard, boom. You know that they came famous because wooty woo, low, booms, another one, and another one, and another one. But why is it not highlighted on the highest powers? This is a humiliation ritual, people, period. On a grand scheme of the African American culture, New Age version, 2026. We were being exploited in slavery and being exploited now. So they play African Americans against one another, that they play the ones that they don't like. So these are the tactics and the strategies. You don't really like them, you could have their spot. All you have to do, you can have their spot. They don't deserve it. That's a waste. All you have to do is pretend like you don't know that we trying to kill their ass. Pretend like you don't know that we is putting poison all over everything. Pretend like you don't know that you got some of your employees illegally surveilling. Pretend like you don't know that you got employees stalking them on social media and then using their positions to try to annoy the fuck out of them because they don't like them. Pretend like you don't know. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. That's not that hard. You're not really, you're not hurting anybody. You're not a murderer. You're not a bad person. You're not hurting anybody. You're just looking the other way. You're not hurting anybody. You're just not helping. How about that? How does that sit with you? Can you still be a Christian?
Right. Paul is well aware that Ash knows Torterra's battling style, so he formulated his strategy around that.
Oh man, hang in there,
You're not doing anything. You're just simply keeping things cash. You are, how do you say? You're just not participating in making sure things progress as they should normally. You're allowing, okay, yes. So let's just say you're not doing anything wrong. You're just simply allowing things to slip through the cracks. You're just allowing because, again, there's other responsibilities. So you're not technically doing anything wrong. You're just prioritizing other people that's possibly more important anyway. And then they laugh at those very people that go along with it. Just like those people be laughing at the targets, mocking the targets, laughing at the targets that they're harassing, the people who hire them laughing at them.
There's no doubt in my mind Paul was expecting Ash to bring out Star Raptor next. That's why he used Stonehenge.
Because they watch these folks stand behind podiums, stand, in synagogues. They watch these same people post things in social media. They watch these people because they watch them just like they're watching us. They watch these same people squawking about like ostriches and peacocks. Okay? Talking about, love and compassion and kindness and philanthropy and humanitarianism. And, they watch these people talk about the importance of mental health, and they sit back and they watch these people, they talk that jazz. And they go, and you willing to sell out and kill so that people can look at you in a certain way. You're a buffoon. That's what these people think. Yeah, I'm talking like they actually do when they're not in the presence of the people that they're trying to sell the dream to and convincing them to do heinous, insidious things to their own fucking family and to their own culture. And then they watch these people want to have a million man march. Then they watch these people want to talk hashtag Black Lives Matter. And then they watch these same people talking about Black girl power. And then they watch these same people advocate, taking pictures of how they're giving to the people under the freeway. And, they watch these same people in one breath do that, and the next breath trying to plot and set an innocent person up because they don't like them and because they want some money. They are calling the culture a buffoon. Look, because they ain't doing that. They got their toxicity, but listen, for whatever reason, it's like they ain't going to that extent. Somebody's going to say, well, they don't have to because that's the structure of this plane of existence. Exactly. So, but don't it make you wonder who and what they really are then? And listen, on a kind note, in terms of, me playing devil's advocate and why people do sell out, on the softer side, I'm gonna say the softer side, when people are wrecked with fear versus the greed, because I feel like there's a side where it's just downright good old fashioned greed, ain't got shit to do with the pursuit of happiness movie, bitch. It be motherfuckers is just greedy. Survival and greed are a different vibration. They're both low frequency. Okay, something to transcend and transmute and alchemize through and heal through, but they're different. The intention, the all of it is different. The fear and the scarcity, and somebody operating out of survival, and the fear, the scarcity mindset that's provoking people into greed. See that? Neither of them are cool, but the kind and softer side of it is like, I get it. Then, when they bully people, they lean into their scarcity and their fear and survival, where it's like, what you gonna do? You got kids, you got a rap sheet, you got this, you got a mortgage. I have more empathy and compassion for that group, because it's disgusting. From just the human perspective, it's like, okay, okay, they themselves are trying to survive. But when from the space of greed, got no respect for that. I got not a lick of empathy for it. Not for that. Because that's just ridiculousness. It's gluttony. It's just gluttony. It ain't because bitch don't know how they gonna make it, because they just fat cats. So that's just selfishness, where folks are willing to sacrifice somebody in that vibration. It's just downright selfish, gluttonous, greedy. Because some people want to live that high and mighty life. And the fascinating thing is, and then they are the ones that go about talking about who's proud and full of pride and stuff. They themselves can't bring themselves to adjust, to humble themselves to meager means, if that's what it means, until they can manifest in a different light outside of sacrificing innocent life. A humiliation ritual has been being done since slavery on the African American culture, and it is still being done. The weak links in the bloodlines are still being purchased to be Judas. To sell out those who can't be broken. Those who dare to be free. They did it in slavery. The snitches. And we still got niggas operating like that now. For a bowl of beans. So massa, give them a little extra cup of bowl of beans. We've heard of these stories, y'all. Like I said, we were not there for history, but according to what's reported, okay, I have to phrase it like that because technically, you know what I'm saying, according to that. You hear the greats, the history that we've gotten is we hear the greats, the story about the greats who were bold and courageous and fierce, and many died standing for, trying to free folk and fighting for, you know what I'm saying? Oof. And then you have the sellouts who like the comfortable oppression. Oh, that don't even go together, huh? But it's the truth. The comfortable oppression. And the only reason why it was comfortable oppression for some is because they got spiffs from massa. It was still oppression. It was sad sacks. It was still oppression. It's still thievery, bitch. But it's like they got one less ass whooping. And instead of sleeping outside with the pigs and slop, we have a tent, you know, the barn tent versus the fabric version or some shit. Like, and they got to get maybe a weekly visit to Massa's house if they was light enough, bitch.
They're using rock tomb as a shield.
That was no chance against a water type attack. All right, please, I'll use aqua check.
Smart, let's go.
Oh no! Weasel!
That rock tomb was for keeping Weasel from seeing what we're.
Switching now.
Stand by for battle. What's this in there?
Weasel!
Okay. Let's see. Wait, let me see. It says not responding. Bear with me.
There's a Pokemon.
Bear with
Could
me.
it be? It's known for its incredible agility.
All right, awesome!
And devastating leaf blade attack.
All right, really strong stuff.
Trainers beware. Those slicers cut more than just hair.
Okay. My apologies for the technical difficulties. My battery went dead. And my apologies for that. Anywho, I was basically done anyway. So let's go ahead and just wrap that up. Humiliation ritual. And what now? How can I end it on a high note? Well, the ones that are in alignment with transcendence, they're already there. They need no convincing. They need no carrots and spiffs. They're already there. Anywho, I'm gonna end it because it's not working. So, bye. Love y'all. Think about everything I said. Bye.